I'd now like to welcome up to the stage for the opening address the wonderful Lauren Moss, MLA, who is the Minister for the Environment, Climate Change and Water Security, amongst many other wonderful portfolios. It's a joy to have you here as well, Lauren, with this new portfolio. Lauren's one of the first people I met when I moved to the Northern Territory, and as somebody who is incredibly proactive and caring about the different elements here. So it's a joy that you've got this portfolio. If you wouldn't mind, can we please put our hands together and welcome up Honourable Lauren Moss, MLA.
Hey, keep up, Lauren.
I didn't bring my wig. Look, thank you very much for inviting me here this morning. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the beautiful lands of the Larrakia, and James always does a really beautiful welcome to country. I want to pay my respects to the Larrakia elders past, present and emerging, and of course the traditional owners of any of the lands that you have travelled from to be here today, because they've looked after this place for tens of thousands of years. I'd also like to acknowledge Lord Mayor Con Vatskalis, very old friend of mine, and I know that he's somebody who's very passionate in this space as well. And I'm really excited that this is one of my first events since taking back on the portfolio of environment, climate change and water security. I held the portfolio a number of years ago, and I think what has happened in this space over the last few years has been pretty amazing. So I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, but it is a really important opportunity to bring you all together, to have that exchange of ideas, really robust discussion about the opportunities that exist within waste management, recycling, and as James and Amy have both said about the importance of that to our communities and the importance of that to our future. And I also have a little one, like Amy does, and tell you as you all know, the waste that comes with having tiny humans is very real as well, and that's an issue that I know people in this room would have thought about and be looking at tackling as well. But it does really bring into very sharp focus some of these issues on a home level, so it impacts on absolutely everyone in the community. So it is really important that we are facilitating those effective and efficient waste management frameworks across our communities, and I'm really passionate about working with you to look at ways that we can reduce and reuse waste and increase recycling across all of our Territory communities. I do think, as I said, it's really important to reflect on how far we've come over the last 5 years. We are a very small jurisdiction, but we are vast in size, and that carries with it challenges that you would all be very, very aware of: small economies of scale, massive distances. But I think with that in mind, we do punch well above our weight. And since coming to government in 2016, we have implemented the Environment Protection Act 2019, which embeds the waste hierarchy principles. And I think that's really incredibly important, because it does mean that those projects that are referred to the NTEPA for assessment have to demonstrate how waste is minimised, how it's reused, how it's recycled. And the fact that it is included in those assessments and those approval processes really sets up the background and the expectations for waste to be appropriately considered throughout the life cycle of a project. So that's an important step forward. We have reformed the container deposit scheme, and it's something that we've got a really strong history in the Northern Territory, which makes it easier for suppliers to participate in that scheme and reducing the administrative burden on the Territory and on industry. And there are further improvements to come to that scheme, which will expand it to other containers, improve return rates in regional areas, and redistribute funding generated in the scheme to other waste and recycling programs. So that's something I'm particularly excited about. Many councils have developed and are implementing waste management strategies, and it's really exciting to see the strategic collaborations in waste and recycling across council areas, with most councils engaged in regional waste management working groups. Collaborating with the Australian government where possible is also important, and that helps to facilitate some of those larger projects. Our government was actively involved in the development of the National Waste Policy and Action Plans and the export ban on waste, and we've entered into a national partnership agreement with the Commonwealth to improve recycling infrastructure in the Territory. and that will see $11 million worth of funding invested across the Territory to improve recycling over the next 4 years, including constructing a materials recovery facility in Katherine to service that Big Rivers region, and a $3.8 million investment via the NT Recycling Modernisation Fund to into those recycling infrastructure projects on a co-contribution basis, and applications for that fund will close on the 22nd of June. Importantly, our government has developed and we are implementing the new Anti-Circular Economy Strategy 2022 to 27. That was released earlier in the year by Minister Lawler. And the development of that strategy across all areas of government, industry, NGOs and communities represents a really significant step forward in how we collaborate around managing waste and recycling in the Northern Territory. And it does have 3 strategic priorities: protecting the environment and creating the regulatory settings to grow the Territory's circular economy, starting the transition to a circular economy through policies, through the use of policies and incentives, and establishing the circular economy industry as a contributor to the Territory's $40 billion by 2030 vision. So again, really, really exciting opportunities there. And essentially it's our plan on how we're going to implement the National Waste Action Plan across the Territory. So there's lots of key initiatives within that strategy. I won't go through them all now, but it is something that I look to as a really great opportunity to collaborate with you all, something that I'm looking forward to getting really stuck into, because I think the opportunities there are immense, and I'm genuinely excited by that. So I think the next 5 years are going to involve lots of hard work, absolutely, but we've got real opportunity here to make a difference in minimising waste. We've got a real opportunity here to do things that are innovative and increase recycling, particularly in regional and remote areas. And as I've said, I'm really looking forward to working with you all on those important initiatives. So I do really wish you a constructive couple of days here. I'm sure it's going to be very insightful. Congratulations to Sean and the team at Legant for pulling together this an interesting agenda for the next 2 days. I'm also looking forward to hearing some of the feedback on some of the waste-related puns that Amy no doubt has up her sleeve for you over the next couple of days, because she works incredibly hard to make sure that she's, on topic, I know. So, look, really looking forward to hearing those ideas that come out of this today, and how we can all work together to transition to a circular economy. So thank you very much for inviting me to be part of your opening today.